What's going on, everyone? So the Phoenix Suns with Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker, I don't believe in as a real championship contender. They lack size, they lack defense, they lack the toughness. Right? They have their issues, they have their holes. I know that they have like a really good record with Kevin Durant, but that's because Kevin Durant, right? But he keeps getting hurt, he keeps dealing with his nagging stuff. He's only getting older, right? And I don't think Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant are the best fit. I don't think that those three guys make sense. They're all essentially the same player. They all want to kind of do the same thing, on different scales, different levels, right? But I just think that fit-wise, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for that team. So what do? Right? Bradley Beal has a no-trade clause, so you're probably not going to be able to trade him. Kevin Durant is your best player, so you're probably not going to trade him. Like, there were talks this past offseason of maybe looking to trade Devin Booker, and Devin Booker might be open to that. But Matt Ishbia has said, like, hey, we're going to run it back. We're not trading any of these guys. At some point, I do think they're probably going to come to that conclusion. Maybe it's this season. Maybe it's in the offseason, right? Maybe it's by the trade deadline. Whatever. We'll see how it goes. Kevin Durant is going to miss some time again. So Phoenix is probably going to be in some trouble again. So you look at kind of the East Coast, and it's like, okay, well, what makes sense? Like, what could really help bolster Phoenix, kind of make the big three model fit better, kind of give them some toughness, kind of give them some of the things that they need? It's like Jimmy Butler makes a lot of sense. Right? Now, you look at Miami, on their side, there is a growing sense that Miami is going to trade Jimmy Butler as soon as this season. Right? If not, very likely in the offseason. And there's also the fear that Jimmy Butler just opts out and they lose him for nothing. But if he could maybe go to Phoenix and Matt Ishbia, who's the owner, who will pay Jimmy whatever you need, and, giving Kevin Durant's age, you're all in. You're pushing your chips in regardless, right? Unless you're trading Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, unless you're just tearing it down to studs, right? It does kind of make sense. Like, hey, Jimmy Butler gives you that toughness, gives you the physicality. The beauty of Kevin Durant, you can slot him pretty much wherever you want, right? Like, genuinely, right? So you can slot him at the 3, you can slot him at the 4, right? You figure out, you're small right now anyway, right? So Katie at the 4 with Nurk, put Jimmy Butler at the 3, with Devin Booker and Tyus Jones, and let's go. Jimmy Butler gives you toughness. He's willing to do the dirty work, right? He's a guy, he doesn't care whether he gets 5 points or 50 points. It doesn't matter as long as they win the game, right? So he's not going to take away from Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. It's not going to be so much of you go, I go. He can defend the best player on the other team. Playoff Jimmy is a real thing. Imagine Jimmy Butler on the Phoenix Suns. I still have concerns about their size and defense beyond Jimmy Butler, but I think that they are much better. I think they are much tougher. I think that team, you're going to have to beat that team. I mean, look at, again, Phoenix is great in the regular season. What happened in the playoffs last year? They got ran through. Wasn't even close. The same thing's probably happening again this year. They're probably getting ran through, right? Because once you get to the playoffs, the game is completely different. It's tougher. It's more physical, right? Like, teams are the defense schemes are just much harder. They're closing out harder on the 3 and packing the paint more, and teams are going to scheme and defend. Teams are hey, Bradley Beal beat you, right? But like Jimmy Butler, like he's a guy, just, hey, here Jimmy, go take over, right? They're double teaming KD every time he touches the basketball. Here you go, right? Like I just think it gives you a better balance, right? And from Miami's side of things, they wanted Bradley Beal. Right? Bradley Beal, if you could turn Bradley Beal into Jimmy Butler, right? Like, that's good. It's better than losing nothing, right? And you still could kind of do some stuff. You can still make some moves. Maybe now Tyler Hero becomes more expendable because now you got Bradley Beal, right? I think that's just a better spot for them rather than just like losing Jimmy Butler for nothing. He's younger. The injuries, because I know people are going to be like, well, Bradley Beal's injury history. Jimmy Butler's playing like 50 games a season too. Both guys are incredibly injury prone, but also Bradley Beal having that no trade clause. The only way you're going to be able to trade him is if it's to a team that he wants to go to, and Miami is one of those teams. He even said, I thought I was going to Miami. I thought Miami was one of the places, and the next thing you know, I'm headed to Phoenix, right? Like, so he wanted to be in Miami. He still wants to be in Miami, right? Like, he's a guy that makes sense for Miami, and now you got him and Bam Adebayo, right? Like, so at least you got that pairing. You kind of just figure out the rest around it, right? And again, the injury history is the injury history regardless. They're both basically making the same type of money, right? Like, so, like, what do you do if you're Miami, right? So you can go two options, right? you could do the trade at the trade deadline, but you need a third team because Jimmy actually makes like $2 million roughly less than Bradley Beal. The Phoenix Suns are a second apron, I believe, and Miami's an apron team. They're both apron teams, right? So they can't aggregate salary, they can't take on more salaries. So you're gonna have to find that third team regardless, right? So yeah, but you only need to add in like a vet minimum. So it's not a big deal for Miami, right? It's like, here you go. And then now you get Bradley Beal, and then Phoenix could get Jimmy Butler and, maybe a second. Like, I don't think any picks or anything should be done. I think that it's just a clean swap, right? Maybe Miami has to give a second, take a guy, or like, hey, take one of these young guys we're not like super high on, right? Here you go. Just to like, for facilitating the trade. And now you got a guy in Bradley Beal who, is younger. Yes, obviously the injury concerns, but gives you that offensive firepower, gives you that guy you've been looking for, right? Kind of just run it this year, especially if you can get it done this season. Kind of go like Terry Rozier with a Bradley Beal, and then, fill out whatever you need to fill out at that point to just, again, kind of try to get through the season and then retool and figure out what you need to do. Again, maybe you're looking to trade a Tyler Hero or several pieces, right? Maybe you're looking to flip a Terry Rozier into something, right? Like, I just think if you're Miami, I think it makes sense. And I think if you're Phoenix, it makes a ton of sense, right? To me, it just depends on what Miami wants to do, right? Does Miami want to kind of just like tear it down and just like, hey, let's try to build around Bam? Or do they even trade Bam? Right? Like, Miami's going to have to pick a lane. They're going to have to pick a path. And you're likely, that path is probably not going to include Jimmy Butler either way. So you might as well turn him into something that makes sense. And I just think that, a guy in a Bradley Beal, you could do worse. And then for Phoenix, I think that makes a ton of sense. Because now, at least your three guys all do different things, right? Devin Booker and Kevin Durant still are very similar, but, at least Jimmy Butler is kind of that guy. He can make the plays, he can do the dirty work, he can defend the best player, right? Like, he's better defensively than Bradley Beal is, right? Like, just gives you that toughness that this team really needs. And like I said, I think personally that Tyus Jones, Devin Booker, Jimmy Butler, Kevin Durant, and Nurk, I just think that's a better starting five than Tyus, Beal, Booker, Katie, and Nurk, right? I think that you just have, it's better balanced, right? You have better structure with that starting five. I think you're just in a better position with that starting five. And again, Miami, it's like, okay, well, you're still getting another star at least. You're getting a guy that can help. Right? It doesn't, like I said, the injury concerns, you have the same issues with Jimmy Butler, right? And unless you're just going to like, hey, let's just get off of Jimmy and just let his salary fall off the books, then you might as well go get a guy that can keep the ceiling raised, and him and Bam Adebayo, you go make a solid move or two. Like I said, I would look to trade Tyler Hero at that point if you're Miami. Like, can you turn Hero and a couple other things into like a better complementary guys, right? Pieces that maybe make more sense, like a 3-and-D wing. Right? Can you do something like that? Can you go get a Cam Johnson or something if you're Miami? Right, and then, like I said, have like a Rozier, Beal, Johnson, with a Bam Adebayo, go where or whatever, right? Like, I'm talking about like next season. I just think that would just be better for Miami. Both sides kind of get like, different looks, right? And kind of figure out how they want to structure this, what they need, right? Again, what else are you trading for Jimmy Butler? Right, trading a bunch of role guys, trading a bunch of complimentary guys. Right? At least Bradley Beal gets you the star. It's like, again, if you're Miami, like what else makes sense? You're not trading, Jimmy Butler for Giannis or anything like that. So it's just like, what else do you do? What else do you get? Right? Like, it makes sense to go, like, if you, at least you maintain a star, right? And then again, like I said, for Phoenix, I just think he makes much more sense. And he's a guy that I do think can kind of carry when Jimmy Butler is out. Right, where Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, they're awkward at times. Right, it's just kind of like you go, I go, you go, I go. Bradley Beal doesn't really seem to like have found his foot. He has his games, his moments, but it's just like he's the third guy. He's relegated third guy, but he's not best in that role. Right, where I think Jimmy Butler is just much better. Like, he's fine being whatever guy he needs to be, whatever role he needs to be, as long as they're winning. Right, so he's more willing to, hey, Book, go ahead. Go off, man. Go get your 70, right? Like, hey, KD, Go get your buckets, right? Don't worry about me. I'll chip in where I need to go. I'll die for this loose ball. I'll take the charge, right? Like I'll lock down defensively. Hey, you guys having an off night? Don't worry. Here, give me the rock, right? Like, hey, I'll go get us 25. I'll go get us 30, right? Like, I just think you're in a better position. You still get the scoring, the defense, the offense. I just think he's a better fit. He just makes more sense fit-wise than what you see with Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker. And then again, for Miami, at least you get another star. At least you're getting a guy that still maintains some level of competition. And Bradley Beal can go back to being that, 30-point-a-game guy, which Miami could use. Just be that scorer, that bucket getter. I just think it makes more sense for kind of all parties involved, personally. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you love the idea? Do you think, Bradley Beal for Jimmy Butler swap makes all the sense in the world for both sides, for both teams? Both get just kind of a guy that they need. Miami gets at least another star for Jimmy Butler, and then the Suns kind of get a better natural fit, a better kind of third guy for them than what they have currently. Do you think, no, makes no sense, it's silly, both sides? Miami doesn't want Bradley Beal, even though they did before he went to Phoenix, right? They were trying to go get Bradley Beal. But were they trying to get Bradley Beal because they wanted Bradley Beal regardless, or were they trying to get Bradley Beal because they wanted him alongside Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo? Right? That's something else that you got to that's at least worth mentioning and talking about. But again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.